And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. Thank you.
So press play. Man, I ain't gonna tell you again. Man, we about 17 years and rolling, fool. Look.
What's up, Press Play Plano? This is episode 15, and we're going to be talking about ego. It's a really bad idea to be watching this episode and then say something like, oh, I really know somebody who should be watching this episode, because that in and of itself is actually arrogance. So
a big issue, like, and especially in Plano. I went to school in a small town for a little while north of here, and I mean, it was still an issue there, but I didn't see as much of like the pride that people have in not only themselves, but in like their material belongings.
Essentially comes from when you don't appreciate what you have, you begin to build an appreciation for yourself.
Plano's trying to pedigree the kids, you know, to be the best. They want every kid here is raised to be a CEO or just like a president of something, you know, like we're trying to make the kids the best, right? That's what we do. Gonna cure cancer, and it's gonna come from Plano, and it's gonna star in all the football teams, and those are gonna be Plano kids.
Arrogant person, too self-centered, probably won't have many friends, not too good relationships.
Everything you do in your life is cocky, and you'll lose all your friends and whatnot.
Make themselves out to be like some big and tough guy when they're really not.
I got a big ego.
I got somebody's swag.
I started my day great, don't hate what I do, instead get a play.
Cocky is like, it's not terrible, but if you're not confident in yourself, then...
So you gotta find a balance?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be confident to carry yourself, but you can't be, you know, oh yeah, you know, I'm so much better than you.
Creates lots of problems, like fights, come from arrogance.
It causes fights.
It's not very attractive, it's annoying. Like people with big egos, like players, and I don't know, it's annoying.
They get really feeling superior to everybody else. Like, there's nobody who's superior than everybody else has their flaws.
Rap music definitely doesn't help with the ego part.
I got a big ego, ha ha ha, oh such a big ego,
And don't get me wrong, confidence is good. We all need confidence. But the problem with that is we have songs that are like, my shoes, my chain, my hat, my socks, and all this filthy, it's disgusting. It's stupid.
And so people feel like, since that's the role model that they're listening to, that they need to try to be that way.
It's okay to have like a little bit of pride in an accomplishment you've done or whatever, but just that overwhelming sense of pride in yourself and how it overrides, and you decide that you're better than other people, you know?
Yeah, you're really self-conscious about what other people think about you.
And if you fit into a specific group or not.
Yeah, you just need friends that will love you no matter what you look like, or like...
This is who you are as a person on the inside, not the outside.
Honestly, ego kind of manifests itself in a lot of facets today. It manifests itself whether you're playing a basketball game and you stuff somebody and they're like, oh! Or if someone's driving and they get cut off by this old car, it's like, oh, how can you cut me off? I'm in a 89 Honda Civic, how can you cut me off? You and your 88 Honda Civic. Like, that's messed up, you know?
This is an 81 Honda. How dare you?
It's an inward problem. So like getting wasted, that's an outward problem. You know you have that problem. Alcoholism or being an alcoholic, that has consequences, but do you really think that arrogance won't have its consequences? And in actuality, if you think about it, which one's harder to fix? Arrogance is harder to fix because you can't even see it. Here are some ways to detect if you're arrogant. If someone corrects you and you get really offended and you're like, dude, how could you say that to me? How could you say that to me? Then you have a serious ego problem. If someone gives you advice and they don't give it in the nicest way, the way you should look at it is there 1% truth in it? Is there 0.5% truth in it? Is there, if there's the smallest amount of percent of truth in whatever that person said, even if they said it mean, take that truth, take that benefit, and leave the rest. You can even look at it from a further point of view. Maybe that person is trying to help you become more modest by you feeling offended. Maybe it's a test for you. It's a test on how modest you can be if someone's dissing you or if someone's giving you criticism in a way that you don't like it. Maybe it's a test of your modesty. Number 2, if you have the need to intervene in every single conversation, if you have the need to have your opinion heard every time, if you get offended that your opinion isn't taken in the end, then you also have a serious ego problem.
I think everyone needs to just take themselves down a peg, you know?
I think they need to, like, calm down. Calm down,
If you're in a position of leadership, you need to understand that you need to watch your arrogance, because if you're too arrogant, you won't listen to the people who are following you. But at the same time, if you're too modest, you won't take the action necessary to change the problems that are in society. But most of us have the problem with arrogance and not being too shy or too modest to take some action.
All about yourself being like, yeah, I'm the best and everything. That's the point where it's like you need to respect other people.
When you begin to think so highly of yourself, you don't give credit to others. So if you find one flaw in someone else, you immediately discredit that person. For example, if an administrator or principal says something wrong to you, or a teacher screws up one thing with you, then you instantly get really mad, and that teacher is a terrible teacher, no matter how many good things they've done for you. So when you begin to credit yourself, you don't credit others.
If you hurt their esteem, like their pride, then arrogance comes out. Arrogance is like a self-wall.
Remedies of being arrogant. Become uncomfortable with praise. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that when people praise you, you want to accept that praise, but become uncomfortable with receiving praise. Don't credit the praise to yourself. Credit your parents, credit God, credit somebody else, but don't think to credit yourself, because you're really going to get an expanded ego, and that's really dangerous.
Most people I know that it was like that ended up going to the bottom, because really nobody is above anybody. We all equal.
You can't look at it as if you're higher than somebody else, because you really aren't. Everyone's the same. We're brought up. We're all people. We're all human. We all, you know what I mean? We all bleed. No one's titanium. You know what I mean?
When people talk to each other, they start understanding each other. You learn that other people are just like you, and that you guys go through the same things in a day, and that you're really not that different.
You know, just in general, people need to realize that everyone's equal. Everyone should be equal, and that kind of gets away from us. You know, based on your status in society. Like, people just need to realize that money in the end doesn't matter. So don't try to build yourself up on what you have here on this earth, because it's not going to matter.
So press play. Man, I ain't gonna